Welcome back to Panzer Paladin, where we're going to the last regular stage and then off to the Wily Tower. Yay! We're off to Japan.
Wait, does Japan only get a skeleton?
Japan!
Oh, it's an actual Japanese demon.
Well, I know, but it looks like it's just a skeleton design-wise.
But visually, it's just a skeleton. You fight millions of those in video games.
Yeah,
It's a big skeleton, okay? Gosh.
that seems
Oh, it's from Home Depot.
that seems a bit
Yeah.
unimaginative, considering the wide array of things to choose from in Japanese mythology.
They don't have a skeleton. They didn't have a skeleton boss in this game yet. All right, it's. I like that boss actually. It's one of the cooler ones in the game.
Mechanically
I-
or design-wise?
Both. I think. Like it does some neat stuff. Listen, not everything. Japan doesn't have more cooler stuff than everybody else. Lots of things have.
More cooler.
Yeah. Like I'm sure that if you talk to somebody from Tanzania, yeah, that one. They would have been like, "Oh, you went with Bobo Yogo? Oh, how unoriginal!" You know, it's just like, okay, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Flying,
It's a cool skeletons are cool.
flying one-eyed bat is still more imaginative than a skeleton, though.
As a Final Fantasy fan, no. Arimans are all over the place.
Well, yeah, but that's because they became one of the mascot monsters. There's a reason they became one of the mascot monsters, is what I'm saying.
We also have ninja demons.
It's just, you know, they put a heck lot of work into drawing this really intricate-looking Japan-inspired city area, and
Could
Look,
someone actually
even-
explain to me the whole...
look, even those enemies that we fought just there are like really imaginative, and
Well, they're just
What's
ring. They're just the ring.
yeah, I know.
What's the
Yeah.
basis for
Those
a
guys
ninja
are.
teleporting
That's a
and
Japanese demon
a
type
log
thing.
and it's in its place?
There's guys like that in Metal Slug that crawl on the ceiling.
Yeah, I know. It's from. I know what it's from. My point is, it looks really interesting, and it's culturally iconic, rather than just being a skeleton.
Hold on a moment. Gasho Guarda. I forget. Hold on. I'm looking up how Japan boss. Hold on. I'm gonna do some.
Japan boss.
I don't know how to spell the fucking thing. Okay? Yeah, it's Gasha Dokuro. Hold on.
Giant skeleton!
Gasha
The boss of Japan. You just see the giant skeleton at the prime minister's office or something.
Yeah, they're a mythical creature. Like they're actually very like this is a giant fucking skeleton. It's huge and it's in a bunch of old Japanese.
I think what Mora Lewis is getting at is that of all of the Japanese folklore mythical creatures you can take from Japan, you choose a giant skeleton.
Yeah, because there's obviously a reason for it. Because let's see, they're used in all sorts of different things. They're used in Kubo and the Two Strings, which I hear is a good movie. It's in One Piece. One of the Straw Hat people dresses up as that.
My
skeleton.
point is, visually, there's nothing about a human skeleton that identifies it as unique to a particular culture. Like even
you could say the same thing about the dragon from Scotland. It's just the
no,
dragon.
that particular kind of dragon design is a specifically European fantasy iconography. There are different.
Well, maybe this is the Japanese
there are
skeleton.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a Japanese skeleton. Humans all have the
That
same
we
skeleton.
know of.
But the point is, the European fantasy dragon is different visually from a Chinese dragon.
Yeah, but you could have said there's all sorts of really cool Gaelic monsters they could have picked, and then they just picked, oh, it's just a dragon. You know, that's the point you're making, though.
Yeah, but the dragon belonged to a medieval style castle. That's thematically, appropriate.
Yeah, and this skeleton
iconic.
attacked, and one of the first images you look up when you take a long time to Google and find out how to spell this guy's name, granted, is like him in a Japanese style castle, like lording over some samurai dudes. Like,
I think it's just because the skeleton is just more mundane, like visually.
It's like
if
the skeleton.
walking skeleton what came for you, you wouldn't be freaked out. It's like it's
The
a
skeleton you see in a Japanese like story isn't gonna look any different than the skeleton you see in any other culture's story, though.
Yeah,
because
this skeleton specifically like 15 feet tall and hunched over and smashes stuff like that. It actually I'm pretty sure they designed this specific skeleton pretty much off of the art that I'm looking at right now, which is called
you know what? I just realized.
Takayasha the Witch and the Skeleton Spectre.
You should have led with the hunched over and 15 feet tall part.
Well, you can see that it's a hunched over skeleton from the select screen.
No, you can't.
Like, oh,
you can only
you
see
can.
the fact that it's a skeleton head on shoulders.
Okay,
There's nothing
hold on
else
a
that you
moment.
can see. Hunched over is something you need to see the full torso to get.
Hunched over skeleton being Japanese folklore, though, does make me realize that the giant skeleton boss from Aria Sorrow is a reference to that.
Yeah, it is.
That's cool. You learn shit.
You can sort of tell that it's hunched over. I'm looking at it right now.
I couldn't tell anything about it other than the fact that it had a skull.
Well, I'm looking at it
Words in my
right
mouth,
now,
bitch.
and it's you can somewhat tell that it's hunched over.
I didn't really notice it was hunched
with
over
just the
from what I remember.
with just the head
from
and
looking at it.
shoulders to go on, it looks like a generic threatening pose. But the hunched over part does make sense because that's the kind of imagery that I associate with the way Japanese horrors are described or portrayed in artwork. Like,
Oh, you're doing this the hard way, aren't you, Ryan? Oh yeah, you are. You can just go down that ladder and skip all of this.
But I want to do it my way.
Yeah, you want to do it the way that lost you 3/4 of your health. Okay.
I got it back.
Not yeah.
He's
you
got
had to
plenty.
break a whole.
He's got plenty of
I was
weapons.
gonna break the weapon anyway.
He's got plenty of weapons
Yeah.
to heal himself with.
Yeah, but it's also the way that takes 2 extra minutes.
Oh, katana. Okay. Oh, Christ.
What did
This
you?
font. I thought I said hatana for a second. I'm like, what the hell is a hatana? But, oh no, it's katana.
It's
I
a
had that same
weapon
thing with. I had
made
the
out of
same
hats.
problem with when we went to the Mexico stage because the font typing was so tiny. The M looked like an H.
Hexaco.
I was like, what the fuck is Hexaco?
You know, it's that country where you get cursed a whole bunch.
I mean,
Oh.
these are demon alien things, so Hexaco would make sense.
Oh, and they do the thing where they drop the log where they were because they're ninjas.
Okay, I was asking that earlier before we went into our like 50-minute tangent about a skeleton. What is this? What is the basis behind the whole ninja disappearing and leaving a log behind? Like, because so many damn things reference that, and I don't understand the reference.
I think
Like,
it's.
what does this stem from?
I think it's. Oh god, I don't know specifically what it stands from, but I think like the idea was that you struck it, and then it was actually like an illusion or like a log. Or
Yeah.
whatever. You know what? Google is our friend. I'm gonna just Google ninja log.
Japanese skeleton.
A lot
Oh
of-
no, and then it.
Japanese boss
A
log.
lot of portrayals of ninjas and ninjutsu involve a lot of smoke and mirrors trickery. So the idea, I think, is to make you think you're attacking the enemy, but then the smoke clears and you are attacking a log.
and it's a log, and it's always a log.
It's better than bad. It's good. No, you fool! You should have gotten the health, and now I'm at the checkpoint. I don't have my mech.
Naruto.
So basically, from what I can find, they used the logs to kind of check and see if people were there, and so like people would like attack something they thought was a ninja, and then it was actually a log.
So they would just poke the
What?
log out and say,
What was up with that weird animation just now, where the skeleton's hand grew like 3 sizes when it slammed?
Yeah, because he does that. That's his
Because
thing.
he's also in that hand is also in
Wait.
the background and coming to the foreground.
Wait,
to
the
hit you.
skeleton in the myth has growing hands?
I
No,
think.
it's perspective because the hand he's trying to hit you with is technically in the background, so it gets bigger when it
Yeah, but
gets
it's
closer to you.
bigger than the
Oh,
one in
okay.
the foreground, though.
That is true too. Yes.
I
I
always
think
just
his
assumed
right hand
it was
is just-
it was a cartoon animation.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I take. It might as well
It
be
looks
that.
like Mr. Fantastic, and it kind of ruins it kind of ruins whatever creepy factor the skeleton has.
Oh, but you didn't think he was creepy. You just thought he was some other skeleton that was normal. Yeah, the mundane
It does-
skeleton.
It
everybody
does
has.
kind of look like a mundane skeleton now, though, actually. Because
Oh my God.
it's not hunched over, it's just sort of prone on the ground.
This.
Hunched,
Okay.
hunched over is something that you are while you're sitting.
Lord, give me the strength.
Hunched over is something that you are while you're sitting or standing, not when you're laying on the ground. You can't hunch when you're laying on the ground.
Watch
DS
me.
in DSE stands for semantics.
I mean,
Yeah, this gets a lot easier if you use the backdash, for the record, to dodge.
Well, good to know.
Are you gonna use the Keyblade?
I still can't get over how
Maybe at
bad
some
that
point.
Keyblade looks, though. It looks like it would be at home in Jill of the fucking Jungle.
Look, somebody probably just spent 10 minutes making it in the weapons.
Yeah,
room.
10 minutes is generous.
Look, it takes a while. I tried to start it, and if you want to make something that big and you're trying at least a little bit to be precise, then it will probably take you 10
That doesn't
minutes,
look like
yeah.
it was trying to be precise. That just looks like someone used a line tool over and over and then paint dumped it. So, yeah.
Some of the more simple items are pretty flat in design.
Well, this one was...
Which is
well,
the
this one
point.
was-
I'd imagine like some of the weaker items. Like I remember, like I think the bat in particular looks something out of Atari.
Oh, well, this is a fan-made,
what
this is
the
a
what?
fan-made weapon, wasn't it?
Look, they said the word hell. That means they're serious now.
Hellish.
Oh, okay.
It's like hell, but not exactly. So hellish.
You know, when
Close
you're
enough.
that's purgatory.
Yeah. Why isn't purgatory called hellish?
Here, I have it.
Copyright
Oh wait, hold on. But
issues.
purgatory is supposed to be between, right? So wait, is it between heaven and hell, or is it between earth and hell?
It's between Earth and heaven,
God.
actually.
The horseman looks a lot less threatening when you can actually see his face.
Yeah. So basically, the way purgatory is it's not connected to hell at all. It's effectively the bouncer to heaven. So if they don't think you're good enough to get into heaven, but you weren't like a terrible person, you go to purgatory and you spend however long you need to there to like rid yourself of sin or whatever, and then eventually you
Dashing,
get to go.
flowing mane.
How are you doing that? There's no wind. That's great. That face just screams "Nani."
Wait, you just say what the what?
True.
What the nani?
Yeah, the horseman's kind of a dick though, because he's like, make sure not to make the same mistake, or else we'll have to
Okay.
fight. And you're like, what
So-
mistake?
Beating you
and he's
6
like,
times. ...
and he just leaves.
It might help not making the same mistake if I knew what the mistake was.
The inverted tower.
Yeah,
the
that's
Wily
basically
Tower.
this game's
Okay.
Wily Castle. So there's like 5 or 6 stages in a row where you aren't allowed to go back. to older stages.
Also, we weren't kidding about Wily Castle. Yeah, we weren't kidding about Wily Castle.
Why is it?
Oh wow, it really is just Wily. Jesus, Ted. Why do you recommend such Mega Man ripoffs to this channel?
Why is it called an inverted tower?
Because
It's
it's
a
an
tower that
inverted
points down.
Tower, it's inverted. It's upside down.
Here's probably my least favorite stage in the game.
I would probably agree. There's a lot more bottomless pits, and in
A few
this
more
kind of
cheap
game-
shots. A few more cheap shots than usual. Also, I think it's the hardest boss in the game. In this
So there
stage.
are ways you can cheese it, but yes, I do agree it's the hardest boss in the game. I think the thing about it is that bottomless pits, I think, are more acceptable, or at least less annoying, in games where there are more checkpoints, where this game is much more about, like, combat and whether or not you can survive the wave of enemies, like, whittling you down over and over. It's not about... This game generally, up until this point, has not been about one mistake could make you die, in the same way that, like, a Mario game kind of is. And Mario games, you know, it's just like, oh, one mistake you could die, but the levels are generally much shorter, so you aren't punished as harshly if you die to something like a bottomless pit.
It's kind of
So-
what I was talking about earlier about the difficulty curve being flat, though. Like, if the level design had generally gotten a bit more challenging and a bit more challenging over time, then this level wouldn't feel like quite such a jump.
It's honestly not that much harder if you take out the aspect of the bottomless pits, though, I think. And there are also some ways that you can mitigate it. Like, there are certain weapons that if you break them, you get the ability to just fly. And they start dropping a lot more frequently in this stage. So there are certain platforming sections you can't just straight up skip.
You fool.
Oh, Ryan.
Unfortunately,
You were trying to look cool.
you can't take out the aspect of the bottomless pits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, you
unfortunately
can't.
not.
You can't. I mean, I guess they could put in some sort of thing like the beats from the later Mega Mans, where they'll pick you up if you fall into a bottomless pit.
The thing,
Oh, the ghost guys are also sort of annoying
They're
because
like-
if you get hit by them, you get cursed and you'll start draining health over
they're
time.
like vertical
And-
Then
Medusa
you have to break.
heads.
Yeah, and you have to unfortunately break a weapon with the blessing spell in order to get rid of the curse.
Yeah, that's
Ah.
the. I think it will stop happening over time, and the curse itself can never kill you. It will just bring your.
Is that
health
really
up.
so much? You guys are going into how much like you always have a surplus of weapons. Is that really so much of a problem?
What?
Uh,
Well, you might not
yes.
have the one with the blessing ability is fairly rare, so you might not have one on you, or it might be your last one, for example, which is the thing. Like, you'll almost always have weapons that have durability up or attack up or whatever. Blessing is a much more rare ability, so you don't always have it, and you might want that ability for boss fights because it also makes you regenerate health over time instead. So you might want to use that when you're running low and you think you're not going to be fighting that many enemies, just so that you you can heal a little bit.
There is definitely some sort of secret down there.
Yeah, there was some secret to the right.
Okay.
This area does have a couple of different paths you can take. Like they aren't long, but there are certain sections like where it's like, okay, you can go the lower path and fight these enemies, or the higher path and fight a different set of enemies. You know, it's nice to have a little bit of variety in something like this. It's not.
No, if you're playing a 2D platformer game, the camera follows you towards the bottomless pit, means it's not really a pit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like there I just got cursed, unfortunately. So
Yeah, so
draining
now you're
health.
draining health. And now we're seeing him go through all... Oh, well, yeah, they do start dropping these psi-looking things a little bit more frequently. So Blessing is slightly more frequent now than it used to be, but it's still not, like, common. So you need to be somewhat careful.
The other thing, though, is that you don't want to keep stocked up on too many weapons, because
The only thing the weapons do, according to Ted, is just that this guy appears.
that's what I mean.
Well, I think they do.
Well,
make you
he's
take
not
more
not
damage.
hard, so
I do think most regular attacks will do a little bit more damage to you if you have too many weapons on it. But they're also easy to get rid of, too. You can just chuck them as projectiles. And they do a lot of damage that way. So, if you run into this guy and you're like, oh, you think I'm holding on to too many weapons, huh?
Here,
Okay,
say
then, and you just throw them out. Oh, yeah, I love
That's a
the
surfboard.
Yeah, I love the surfboard.
What?
Yeah, that's one of the... I believe that if you don't have the game connected to the internet at all, there are some set weapons that always will appear, and the surfboard is one of them.
What does
And,
internet connectivity have to do with it?
the internet connectivity lets you get access to some of the fan-created ones. But if you're not connected to the internet at all, or you've never connected to the internet, there's just a set of ones
Okay,
that
so that's why you guys were mentioning the double-sided dildo last time.
Yeah, so you
Okay.
won't ever see a double-sided dildo come at you randomly, because...
Because they do.
But that's because they do curate which ones go over the internet, because this is rated like E or E10.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have to. If you remember Super Mario 3D World with its Miiverse stamps, everybody was just making Mario fart all over the place. Okay, no, that's not true.
They're
Some
making
people
Peach
made
fart.
Peach fart.
I think everybody was blasting ass at some point.
I think
Yes.
you had Peach farting on Bowser. I think you had Bowser
Okay, now we're getting to
farting
specific
on
fetishes.
Luigi.
I don't like where this conversation's going.
What,
You know, I like Japanese skeletons from Home Depot.
no, you fool. There's a platform up there. It's just really hard to see.
Oh yeah, you missed it. This is one of the hardest platforming sections of the stage. I usually
Yeah.
just use a wing weapon here and just break it and then just skip the entire thing.
I feel like playing Castlevania, damn it.
You fool, no.
It's like how seamless everything else seems as a background element. The crystals having that
That black border, yeah, it bugs me.
the tiles. Yeah, I was like, why? That's so sloppy. Everything else looks really fine, but the thing is,
It's weird.
Clean
It's
that up a
weird. This
bit.
game is really, really interesting, but every so often it just has some visual or design element that's jarringly not awesome.
Shit, damn.
Yes, that was what I was trying to find a polite way to say, Ryan. Thank you.
I really think that this game deserves a sequel and could do a lot of good with a sequel. Is part of it, because it's clear here that the team is very talented and has a lot of potential.
Yeah, the game looks great. Like, I'm surprised I haven't played this earlier.
Yeah, no, it's a
Then again,
lot
I still
of
haven't
fun.
played most of the fucking Shovel Knight expansions except Spectre Knight.
Yeah. King Knight's fine. Like, I mean...
Oh boy, that means it's not.
I mean, it's just the kind of level design that I personally don't like. I talked about this when we were doing something. I forget which. Oh, when we were doing New Mario U. I generally don't like the kind of levels that are short and it's like, oh, here's a gimmick for this one level, and then you never see that gimmick again. For me, those kinds of levels tend to be more forgettable, and the experience as a whole just kind of melds together for me. I would prefer to have less mechanics, but them to be fleshed out over the entire experience. That's a wall. And King Knight, more so than any of the other Shovel Knight games, is very much a one shorter level, look at this cool gimmick we came up with, and then you move on and you don't see it that much for the rest of the game. Very much like the new Mario games or Mario 3D World.
So it feels kind of like just, okay, we have to do this because backers and they funded it and all that, but we kind of just want to be done with Shovel Knight by now.
So, I mean, it's still a good game. It controls well. The writing's great, as always. The best part about it's actually the card game. I love that stupid card game so much. I spent so much time, like, beating everybody and getting all the cards and whatnot. I love the card game aspect of it. And if they were to, like, make that into its own paper card game, I would absolutely buy it and, like, try to teach my family how to play, because I think that they would enjoy it as well. But, oh wait, no, I'm thinking of a different boss. This boss is easy.
No, I hate this boss.
All you have to
probably because I don't know how to cheese it.
You just throw weapons at it. That's all you have to do.
Fair
like,
enough.
When
I actually try to fight it. So.
Oh yeah, I fight it too by throwing my weapons
at it.
Look at your spirit level's at 6,000. Like
I can get it to 9,000.
It's normal is at like 2. If I remember, like when you're not in danger.
Then give me more things to kill with them.
Yeah, you can kill more things with them by throwing them and not stockpiling them like a hoarder. I'm out of MP, then use an ether, but you can't buy ethers. It's the final battle, but I've only got 87 of them.
Only 87 of them.
Yeah, that's the joke. Yeah, the trick is to just rush in when he's charging his weapon, because if you hit him while he's charging, it stops the charge, and then you can you can go in.
This guy's just Dark Link.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah, like you're just standing there while he's charging. You chuck a weapon at him. You interrupt it. When he's far away, he's more likely to do magic. So
I do like
another weapon at him, and then
I do like the anime animation where the red streak follows his eye.
Also, oh yeah, that's also really cool. Yeah, but he is basically just a dark Link.
He's just Dark Link, yes.
I kind of thought that the person inside that paladin was just like, a battle of wits.
All right, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 5.
Is it 5?
No.
This guy.
Without looking it up.
This guy is.
Without looking it up. What is the name of the Japanese skeleton?
Oh, you.
This guy is doing all the things.
Question 2. Pronounce the name of the Mexican boss.
This guy is doing all the things that Ryan won't. He's backdashing. He's backdashing.
If you ever get below him, though, you get so much damage in on him. Yeah. Because he's never played Smash Brothers and doesn't know that being below someone on a platform.
You guys never met Ryan Plus? This is like Ryan, but like better in almost every way.
Can we have Ryan from BrainScratch? We have Ryan at home. Ryan at home.
No,
internet connection, it never fails.
You see, the viewers won't get that stab. And also, to be fair, Ryan, it's not under his control this time.
I was gonna say that's not my fault.
All right.
Or is it?
For context, today, our recording day just happened to fall on a day when Ryan's internet router stopped working, so he had to connect to a hotspot for this entire recording session. So, yeah.
Would also coincidentally happen to be a day where we get a power surge.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And also the day where people are tearing up the ground in front of Lewis's apartment. And is also the day when my nephew came over to visit.
Yeah,
I think those are like the 3 signs of the apocalypse.
they're doing road work right outside my house, grinding up the surface of the asphalt on the street.
Which happened to wake up my nephew, and when he cried, it shut down the internet in Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see you all in the next part.